All right, on this week's episode of Make It with Calvin, I got my coworker Alex in his boat filming me in my kayak out here in just absolutely beautiful Elkhorn Slough. We're off Moss Landing, and let's actually talk about my Intex kayak and what I love about it. All right, so first things first, I've already unfurled the kayak because that was way simpler. The process of filling it is actually quicker and easier than you would think. I'm not going to show the whole process. I promise it's putting air in it. Considering the size of this, and just being a manual pump, yeah, it's very fast. So first things first, here's the kayak. I purchased the two-person version because one, I'm a tall person, and two, I figured was a little bit extra, and having that extra space to put in an extra person, put in extra gear, never a bad idea. Now that being said, when it comes to this, I intentionally purchased this one because of the more durable material it is made from. This is not just some really cheap vinyl that'll pop the second time you use it. This actually has pretty much almost like a gauze-like material in there, which really gives it a lot more strength. While I haven't intentionally run it over anything crazy sharp, I've used this at least half a dozen times, and knock on wood, never had any leaks with it. Now as for filling it up, the included pump is actually very quick, and I have a video that I shot of me filling this up and deflating it and putting it away back when I was in El Dorado National Forest, which I'll link to if you're curious. But I still have to pump up the seats, but that's pretty much that. So let me finish up with this. We'll get it on the water, and I'll give my opinions on there as well. All right, you can stop recording. Now, one thing to keep in mind is the fact that this is inflatable, so while this is made of a very durable material, you want to try and avoid going over sharp objects, but at no point, knock on wood, in about the half dozen times that I've used this, have had any problems. And it has rubbed up against rocks. I've literally run it into a sandy beach. I've rubbed it up against a boat dock. The boat dock didn't have barnacles and stuff on it, but obviously use discretion where you're using this, depending upon the conditions, if you want to, get in and out in the water or beach the boat. But I have to say this material is very durable, and I have no complaints when it comes to it. Now when it comes to accessories like the oars here, they work very well. Obviously, I wasn't a giant fan of the grip, so I made my own, and I figured just make my own drip rings because that's what the spirit of Make It with Calvin is. But the included oars definitely work. They get the job done. I can't complain. If you want the files for this stuff, you can find that down in the description below. But as for the boat itself, it kicks butt. Now, the other thing to keep in mind is this is what's classified as a fishing boat. The main reason why I got that is because of these snap mounts for either fishing accessories. In the future, I am going to look into designing my own mounts for things. It did come with a camera mount, which I've obviously used in previous episodes. But yeah, overall, this thing is great. I think what are we going to do? Paddle out some more, paddle back. We haven't figured it out yet, have we?
Not yet. Let's rip a little bit more.
Yeah, we're just enjoying the crap out of our time here. At some point, the plan is Alex is actually going to jump in this and give his opinion because he has a small little plastic kayak. If you want to show everybody what you got, that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, we can do that.
But the idea is, I gotta say, this is awesome. They do sell a single person version, but for the little bit more at this cost and a little bit bigger size, I cannot complain. So that'll conclude the review here. Quite honestly, I love this thing. It's for the money. It's awesome, especially if you're the kind of person who does not have the capabilities to haul a rigid boat, doesn't have the space to store one like I do. This is definitely something worth considering. So if you guys are interested in buying one, I will have an Amazon affiliates link down below. I did purchase this with my own money, so all the opinions are 100% my own. And yes, I do get a little bit of a kickback from Amazon for doing that, but hey, it helps cover the $16 parking and launch fee for shooting videos like this. So hope you guys enjoyed. I'll cut this out with some just incredible shots of some of the nature out here, and we'll see you guys next time. Okay, future Calvin here in the edit bay. Here's a couple little things I forgot to mention while we were out on the water, but I feel like they're worth mentioning now. One of them is when you're using the oars, they do tend to make a clicking noise, and they do tend to have a little bit of twist to them. That's because they use a pin that pops up through a hole, which allows you to adjust the angle of the oar blades on either side, but it comes at the cost of that happening. Now, if you were cheap, you could probably put a little duct tape on it and do away with the fact that they come apart, or you could buy yourself some oars that kind of use an actual clamping mechanism to lock down. But knock on wood, I haven't had any issues with the oars coming apart. But I do know that was commented by both Danielle and Alex when they've used Kayak, and I feel like it's definitely worth mentioning. Now, one other problem that I've had with it, but it's minor, is the inflatable seat and the bolster. Now, the problem is actually when it comes to getting the seat to seal using the included kind of like the pinch and blow valve mechanism, for lack of a better term. Pretty much the problem with that is when you try to get it to seal properly, you get it in there nice and tight, you can push it so it sits flush with the seat, which is very useful, especially if you're using the bolster. The problem is trying to pull that out when you're done can be kind of a pain. So depending upon your storage situation, you might be able to keep it inflated and get away with it. Now, the other thing to note is with the straps for the seat, I've noticed that the friction mechanisms for them that allow you to adjust it sometimes will slip. So after a while, your seat will kind of do this and you'll go, oh, wow, I can lean back farther than I thought. Now, an easy fix to that would probably be just to use some safety pins, or if you really knew the configuration that you like your seat in, just put in a couple of stitches to hold it in place. Both of those are not anything that I feel are life or safety critical, but I do feel like they are worth mentioning. But to be perfectly honest, it's never been a problem to the point where I'm like, wow, I really regret this purchase. So back to the video.